Hello, hello, it's Monica from Crafting with Quilling, and I hope you have absolutely wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how to create this Art Deco style card with no cutting dies. For my project, I'm going to use a new digital set from Relatively Thoughtful. In this collection, you've got lots of elements to fussy cut to embellish your projects. So I decided to challenge myself today and create a card with no cutting dies, but I want to use the elements in this set. They are simply gorgeous, and I thought let's create something very special. To create my card base, I'm going to need a cutting mat to cover my glass mat, and I'm going to need lightweight circle cutter from Made to Surprise. If you don't have any circle cutting dies, that is the way to go. I'm going to use glittering gold from Crafter's Companion. I absolutely love it, so I thought today is the day to use it. So, first, I've got that gold cardstock from Crafter's Companion, and I'm going to create a shape that will measure 6 inches. However, I'm not going to cut all the way. And that is the trick. So, I need to place my cutter when I'm not going to waste any good card, and I'm going to try to cut it. But remember, not all the way down. And this is the trick we're going to use. When I'm happy with it, then I'm going to change my measurement and make it slightly smaller. So, in this case, you can make your cut as big or as small as you want. So this way, when I changed the measurement and made it slightly smaller, I've got that really beautiful frame. So it looks like I used two circle nesting dice. Really cool, right? Now I changed the measurement and I went slightly smaller. At this point, I moved my middle part so it is slightly different, but don't worry, I'm going to make it smaller again, and this way I'm going to have another circular frame, which I think is really cool. So, when this is ready, now it will be time to create all those elements. So, I'm going to use my scissors and cut them off here. Super quick and simple. When this is ready, then we have to create the card base. And to do it, I'm going to use 300 GSM multi-purpose card, which I think is the best option for any card blanks. So, I'm going to use my circle cutter again, and I'm going to create a shape 6 inches. But remember, I'm not going to cut all the way. We're going to try to create a globe shape, and I'm going to show you how to do it. It's super easy. So when I'm happy with it, then I'm going to need a ruler and a pencil. And I'm going to use the grid on my mat, which is very useful because those straight lines always help. So I'm going to place it so I can see the straight lines, then create two lines using a pencil. Now I'm going to create two marks on each side. And I want to make sure there are equal size. I try to achieve 2 centimeters on the left and 2 on the right. But if you want, you can also change the measurement. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure on the left and right is exactly the same. Now I'm going to mark those two panels here, and in the end we do have that globe effect. So I'm going to use my scissors and fussy cut it. Super quick and simple, right? We already have the top of the cut ready, so you only follow the pencil marks. So if you like to create shaped cuts, I really hope you will give this cut a go. And as I told you, you can change the measurement so you can make it as small or as big as you want. So when this is ready, this is my card front. I'm going to erase the pencil marks and move on to my next step. So in this case, I just wanted to check if the frame actually fits on my card. And of course it does. So let's move on and create the back of the card. Again, I'm going to use 300 GSM multi-purpose card, and I'm actually going to trace over. So I'm going to save some time. When this is ready, I'm going to use my scissors, and if you want, as I did here, you can put your template at the bottom. So this way you don't have to cut the very bottom of the card, because this one is already straight for you. I'm going to follow my pencil mark and create that shape element. And then if you want, you can erase the pencil marks, or you can just simply leave it. No one will ever see it here. So when this element is ready, then you have to decide how do you want to decorate the card. And this is always the most tricky part for me. If you're the same, please let me know in the comments down below. I also wonder, do you like Art Deco style? If you do, I already created some other cards on my channel, and I'm going to link them at the end of this video so you can check them out. So I'm trying to follow the front of the card, so I need to make it slightly smaller. Because if you trace over your first element, the second will be slightly bigger. So it doesn't really matter here, no one will ever see it, but I try to be as precise as possible. So when I'm happy with it, I'm going to move on to the next step. But before I do it, I need to get rid of all those small elements. So here, I decided to use two beautiful design papers from Art Deco 1920s style. I absolutely love this color combo, so I thought today is the day to use those papers. So I'm going to place it, turn it over, and use my pencil again to trace our shape. But do I need all of it? Not really. I can do it, but later on I'm going to cover the very bottom. I'm going to use my scissors to fussy cut this element, and I'm going to adhere it on my card. Super quick and simple, right? So as you can see, very often for shaped cards, you don't really need any cutting dies. And I do encourage you to explore and experiment with whatever is in your stash. And if you do have a circular cutting cutter, this is the best thing because you can create so many different projects. Okay, here I'm checking if the shape actually works, and I'm going to use my liquid glue to put it at the front of my card. And when I'm happy with the placement, then we're going to add few other elements. And what do you think about Art Deco style? Do you like it? If you do you have your favorite color combo? Please let me know in the comments down below. So with my very first element, we're going to use it for the frame all the way around. And this one was the smallest frame we created. So as you can see, I cut it in half and I'm going to put those elements as arches. And to decorate those elements, I'm going to use the other design paper. Actually, one of my favorites in this collection. If you like it, I also left the link to it in the description down below. So I'm going to trace those arches here, and then I'm going to fussy cut them and adhere them on my card. And if it's not perfect, that doesn't really matter, because later on we're going to cover it with those gold arches, so no one will ever know, which I think is really cool. If you like this card style, I created quite a few for First Communion, and currently, tomorrow is the last day if you want my new collection, White Elegance. So here in the top right corner, you can see the first video in the series, which tells you all about my giveaway. So please check it out. So here, as you can see, I'm placing my beautiful design paper, and then I'm going to cut the other arch. When I'm happy with it, I'm going to get rid of the side to make it easier to see, and I'm going to use my liquid glue to put it on the card. I absolutely love symmetry, and for me, Art Deco is absolutely amazing because there is symmetry, patterns, and geometry everywhere, which I think is really cool. So, do you like symmetry as well? If you do, how often do you use it in your paper craft projects? Maybe you do have some cutting dies with symmetry effect, and I think this is so cool. So now I'm going to place my other element and adhere it on my card. And as you can see, then you turn it over and use your scissors to get rid of the excess of the card. My goal here was for those two elements not to touch in the middle, so I can actually add those arches. what's really good about using liquid glue, you do have time to maneuver the elements, which I think is really cool. So now I'm going to use my scissors, cut the excess off from the back, which makes it so much easier. And when I'm happy with it, then we can move on and add other elements. And it is super simple. So if you like Art Deco style, I really hope you will create your own version. I think it is super cool and actually easy as well. Here, as you can see, I put my liquid glue on the edge of my arch, and then I'm going to do it on the other side. When this is ready, then we can add the top frame, but also we have to cover the very bottom because it doesn't really look professionally finished at the moment. So we can do both things at the same time, which I think is really cool. And just to make sure all the elements are going to match, I'm going to use exactly the same gold card from Crafter's Companion. I'm going to use the leftover piece from the card we created. I'm going to turn my project over and use my pencil to create that element. Super quick and simple, right? And now, to make sure it's going to have a straight line, I'm going to use my ruler and a pencil. Now it is time to fussy cut it and put it on my card. Super quick and simple, right? So as you can see, it doesn't have to be very precise with all those elements because in the end, it is going to work. To make sure everything works, I'm going to use my liquid glue. Again, this is my go-to. I absolutely love it. So, with the frame here, I decided to put it first and then use the very bottom element. So this way it's going to look like I cut all those elements and they were placed exactly the way I wanted. So no one will ever know that I actually didn't use cutting dice. So when this is ready, then I can apply the very bottom and my card front will be finished. But there is always a way to make it even more special. And when you saw the whole set at the beginning from Relatively Thoughtful, it has loads and loads of elements to fussy cut. And they are all gorgeous, so I thought I need to use them. But before we do it, we can use our scoring board and on the back panel create a top flap. This is my go-to when it comes to shaped cards. I think is the easiest way to do it. Now I'm going to fold it, burnish it, and put the back and the front together. Super cool, right? I'm going to use my liquid glue because I do have time to maneuver the elements. And when this is ready, I do like to open the card and use my bone folder again, which makes it so much easier to use later on. It's always a good idea to use your bone folder on the back as well. So now I decided to use those peacock feathers. They are simply gorgeous. So I fussy cut them. Yes, it is possible. They are simply gorgeous. So one will be at the top, one on the right, and one on the left side. What do you think about them here? Do you like it? And I decided to fussy cut that beautiful lady here, and she is going to be my focal element on my card. So let's add those elements first. And at this point, I thought with the feathers, they look absolutely amazing. But with the lady, I'm going to add a little bit of dimension. And if you've seen any of my previous projects, you know how much I love to use double-sided foam adhesive. I think it really makes a difference. Sometimes in the video, you can't really see it, but in real life, the dimension is simply amazing. So when I'm happy with the placement of my peacock feathers, I'm going to use some double-sided tape just to lift her a little bit. And at this point, you have to decide where do you want a sentiment. There is some space at the bottom to do it, but there is also space at the top. And if you saw the cut at the beginning of this video, I actually used a sentiment in Polish. And I used exactly the same gold card to actually cut it out. So yes, you can do it as well. And this way, all the elements on your project will match beautifully. And that's what I really like. Have you ever created Art Deco card style? If you haven't, I really hope I will encourage you to do it And as I told you at the very end of this video, you're also going to see some other Art Deco cards I created, which are pretty unusual. So if you haven't tried those shaped cards yet, I really hope you'll give them a go. And if you do, please let me know in the comments down below. Now it is time to peel off the backing of that double-sided tape, put a few drops of liquid glue, and our card front is ready. As I told you, it is time for a sentiment, and I couldn't decide where to put it. I didn't want to actually cover the peacock feathers, so in the end, I decided to move them to the top a little bit. So I'm going to have on your birthday in Polish. Yes, you can use any sentiments you've got in your stash. It can be a thank you card, a name day card, literally whatever you want. And if you do like Art Deco style, please don't forget to check that relatively thoughtful website with the link to that beautiful set and also the collection. And the cut is complete. Super quick, simple, and very unusual, right? There is plenty of space to write your message and it stands proudly on a flat surface. Thank you so much for watching and spending that time with me. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I've got more inspiration coming your way very soon. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting! Bye!